They replaced me. I won't forgive them. I'll make them all pay! But they'll regret it. I won't let them win. This power is mine now!
I'm telling you, this quarter was brutal, I said, setting my fork down. But I still closed the Henderson deal. No one answered. I glanced around the dinner table. My father leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. My mother kept cutting her chicken into tiny pieces. Across from me, Lucas Reed smiled politely like he was the guest of honor. I just think Lucas said smoothly that the company could expand faster if we modernized the logistics side. My father's eyes lit up. Exactly what I've been saying. I blinked. Wait, Dad. We already reviewed the logistics plan last month. Robert Cole waved a dismissive hand. Yes, but Lucas brings a fresh perspective. Fresh perspective. I forced a tight smile. He's been here 2 weeks. Lucas chuckled softly. I'm just sharing ideas, Ethan. No need to get defensive. Defensive? My grip tightened on my glass. I'm not defensive. I'm pointing out facts. Facts can still be improved, Lucas replied calmly. My jaw flexed. Mom finally spoke, her voice careful. Let's just enjoy dinner. But the damage was already done. I could feel it, that subtle shift in the room. Like my seat at this table wasn't as solid as it used to be. Dad leaned forward, looking directly at Lucas. Tell me more about what you were saying earlier. The supplier restructuring. Lucas nodded, clearly pleased. I noticed your current contracts are loyal but expensive. If we renegotiate or switch vendors, margins could improve by at least 8%. 8%. My stomach dropped. I suggested the same thing last year, I said quietly. Dad didn't even look at me. Lucas explains it more clearly. The words hit harder than they should have. I let out a slow breath. Right. Lucas shifted slightly, lowering his voice like he was being humble. I'm only trying to help the family. The family. Funny. I've been helping this family my entire adult life. Dad suddenly smiled, an actual proud smile I hadn't seen directed at me in months. You know, Lucas reminds me of myself at that age. Sharp, focused, something inside my chest twisted. I tried to keep my tone light. I've been running the operations team for 3 years, Dad. And you've done fine, he said. Fine. Not great. Not impressive. Fine. Mom finally looked at me, and for a second I thought she might say something, anything, but she just gave me a small, tight smile and looked back at her plate. That silence hurt more than Dad's words. Lucas leaned back. Ethan built a solid base. I'm just thinking about the next level. I stared at him. He sounded respectful, supportive even. So why did it feel like he was slowly pushing me out of my own life? Dad cleared his throat. Actually, that brings me to something. My stomach sank instantly. I've been reviewing the company structure, he continued, folding his hands on the table. And with the market getting more competitive, we need stronger leadership in operations. I frowned. That's literally my department. Yes, Dad said slowly, which is why this decision wasn't easy. Decision. The word rang in my ears. Lucas went very still across from me. Mom stopped moving her fork. I felt cold. What decision? Dad finally looked me straight in the eyes. His expression was firm, businesslike, the same look he used in board meetings. Starting next quarter, Lucas will step in to oversee operations. The room went silent. I actually laughed once, sharp and disbelieving. Oversee? You mean work with me? Dad shook his head. No, he'll be taking the lead. Temporarily. To help stabilize things. Help the family. The words echoed like a slap. I stared at him. You're replacing me. It's not a replacement, Dad said quickly. It's a strategic adjustment. My pulse pounded in my ears. I built that department, and Lucas will build it further. I turned to Mom. You're okay with this? Her eyes flickered with something, guilt, maybe, but her voice stayed soft. Your father thinks it's best. Something inside me cracked. Across the table, Lucas spoke gently. Ethan, I know this is sudden, but I really believe we can work. Don't. I cut in quietly. He stopped. For the first time that night, the room felt too small, too tight, like the walls were slowly closing in. I pushed back my chair. Dad's voice followed me. Where are you going? I met his eyes, and my chest felt strangely hollow. I just realized something, I said. What? I swallowed once. I'm not really needed here anymore. No one answered. And somehow, that silence said everything. I didn't sleep that night. By morning, the anger sitting in my chest felt sharp enough to cut through steel. So I walked straight into my parents' kitchen. "We need to talk," I said. Dad didn't look up from his coffee. "Make it quick. I have a call in 10. Of course he did. Mom stood by the counter. Sophie sat at the island, scrolling on her phone. Lucas wasn't there, but somehow I still felt outnumbered. I took a slow breath. You can't just hand my department to Lucas like I don't exist. Dad finally looked at me. Calm. Too calm. Watch your tone. My tone. I let out a short laugh. You replaced me. It's temporary. That's not what it feels like. Mom spoke softly. Ethan, your father is just trying to protect the company. For me? Silence. That answer hit harder than any insult. I turned to Sophie. You seriously think this is okay? She finally looked up, but only for a second. Then her eyes dropped back to her phone. I just think, she muttered, Lucas has good ideas. My chest tightened. So do I. She shrugged. Then prove it. The words were small, careless, but they landed like a knife. Dad stood. This conversation is going nowhere. No, I said quietly. It's going exactly where you want it. His jaw hardened. You're being emotional. I'm being pushed out of my own family. Mom stepped forward. Ethan, please. But I was already backing away. Because I could see it now. This wasn't temporary. By the time I reached the office, the air already felt different. People were quieter around me. Polite. Careful. Like the news had spread. I walked into the operations floor and froze. Lucas stood at the main screen, talking to my team. If we shift the shipping timeline by 48 hours, we can cut storage costs, he was saying smoothly. My team nodded. My team. I stepped forward. Morning meeting moved without me. Lucas turned, looking pleasantly surprised. Ethan, I was just about to loop you in. Loop me in. I forced a smile. Funny. This used to be my meeting. He kept his voice gentle. We're just trying to move quickly. Dad's voice came from behind me. Lucas is taking point on operations now. We discussed this. I turned slowly. You discussed it. You didn't ask me. Dad's expression hardened. Leadership isn't about comfort. Something cold slid down my spine. Lucas stepped closer, lowering his voice. Ethan, I'm not trying to step on your toes. You already did. The room went awkwardly quiet. Dad clapped once, sharp. Enough. Everyone back to work. People scattered fast. Lucas gave me one last careful look, then followed. I stood there alone. Again. Around noon, Daniel Brooks appeared at my office door. He leaned against the frame. You look like hell. I let out a tired breath. Feel worse. He stepped inside and shut the door. Okay, level with me. What's going on? I hesitated. Then I said quietly, I think my father is replacing me. Daniel's expression darkened. Yeah, I was afraid of that. My head snapped up. You noticed too? Hard not to. Lucas is moving fast. Too fast. My stomach twisted. You think something's off? Daniel lowered his voice. I think you should watch your back. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Dad, boardroom. Now. The meeting was short. Too short. Dad sat at the head of the table. Lucas sat to his right. My seat was empty. I stayed standing. Dad folded his hands. Ethan, after reviewing your recent performance, I've made a decision. My pulse pounded. What decision? He met my eyes directly. You're being removed from the executive track. The words didn't feel real. What? Effective immediately. I stared at him. On what grounds? Dad's voice was flat. You lack leadership. The room tilted slightly. Lucas shifted beside him, but didn't speak. I let out a slow, hollow breath. 3 years of results. And that's your conclusion. Dad didn't blink. This is final. Silence pressed in from all sides. I nodded once. Understood. My voice sounded distant, even to me. Packing my office took less than 20 minutes. Daniel stood in the doorway, fist tight. This is garbage, Ethan. I zipped my bag. Doesn't matter. It should. I looked at him quietly. Apparently, it doesn't. When I finally stepped outside the building, the sky had opened. Cold rain hit my face instantly. I stood there for a long moment, staring up at the glass tower that used to feel like mine. Then I exhaled slowly, because the truth had never been clearer. My own family had chosen someone else. This place is smaller than I expected, Daniel said gently. I dropped my keys on the tiny kitchen counter. You can say it. It's a shoebox. He gave me a look. It's temporary. Yeah, I muttered. That's what I keep telling myself. The apartment smelled faintly like fresh paint and cheap cleaner. One bedroom, thin walls, no view worth mentioning. A long fall from the executive floor. Daniel leaned against the counter. How are you really holding up? I let out a slow breath. You want the polite answer or the honest one? Always honest. I rub my face. I wake up every morning feeling like I got erased. He didn't interrupt. I keep replaying it. I continued quietly. Every meeting, every decision, trying to figure out when I became disposable. You didn't, Daniel said firmly. Feels like I did. Silence sat between us for a moment. Then he asked softly, You working yet? Yeah. Contract logistics for a mid-tier distributor. His brows lifted. That's a big step down. Tell me something I don't know. But even as I said it, shame burned in my chest. 2 weeks later, I sat in the back row of a small business seminar, half listening. Honestly, I almost didn't come. The speaker droned on about market resilience. My mind kept drifting back to the past. Boardrooms, strategy meetings, my father's voice calling me fine. Fine. I clench my jaw. Your posture screams defeat. The voice came from my right. I turned sharply. A woman about my age sat beside me. Notebook open, eyes sharp and observant. Dark hair pulled back. Calm, but direct energy. I frowned. Excuse me. She didn't look apologetic. You heard me. I studied her. Do you always open conversations by insulting strangers? Only the ones who look like they need it. I almost laughed despite myself. Wow. She finally offered a small smile. Maya Turner. I hesitated, then shook her hand. Ethan. She glanced at my blank notebook. You're not taking notes. Didn't realize I was being graded. You're being evaluated, she corrected calmly. By life. I leaned back. That's dramatic. Is it wrong? I didn't answer. Because it wasn't. Maya tilted her head slightly. Let me guess. Something blew up recently. Career, family, or both. My eyes narrowed. You profiling me? I'm reading you. I looked away, jaw tight. Family business situation. She nodded like that confirmed everything. And now you're stuck deciding whether you're a victim or a rebound story. That hit too close. I didn't say I was a victim, I said quietly. You didn't have to. I exhaled slowly. You're very direct. Efficiency saves time. For a moment, we sat in silence while the seminar continued in the background. Then she asked, softer this time, So what are you doing about it? I frowned. About what? Your reset. I stared at her. You're assuming I have one. She closed her notebook calmly. Everyone does. Most people are just too angry to see it. Something in my chest shifted slightly. I lost my position, I admitted. My family basically replaced me. Maya studied my face carefully. And you're still breathing. Last I checked. Then you're not finished. Her confidence was unsettling. I rubbed the back of my neck. Easy for you to say. No, she said evenly. Easy for you to decide. I looked at her again, really looked this time. She wasn't mocking me. She was challenging me. And weirdly, I needed that. So what? I said slowly. You just go around fixing broken businessmen as a hobby? One corner of her mouth lifted. Financial consultant, actually. Of course you are. She stood, gathering her things. If you're serious about rebuilding, Ethan, stop replaying what you lost. I frowned. And start what? She met my eyes directly. Start becoming someone they can't ignore. Then she walked away. Just like that. I sat there for a long time after the seminar ended. My chest still tight. My pride still bruised. But for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel completely stuck. That night, standing alone in my small apartment, I looked at my reflection and spoke quietly. Fine, I told myself. And for the first time since everything fell apart, I'm in it. I'll rebuild. You're late, Maya said without looking up. I checked my watch. By 2 minutes. Discipline starts with minutes. I slid into the chair across from her. Good morning to you too. She finally looked up, calm as ever. Did you review the warehouse numbers I sent? Twice, I said. Margins are thin, but the owner's desperate. That gives us leverage. A small nod. Approval. Rare and oddly satisfying. Good, she said. So what's your move? I hesitated. Old habits pushed forward, fast decisions, aggressive plays. But Maya was watching. I'd offer a structured buy-in, I said slowly. Low up front, performance-based expansion. Her eyes sharpened slightly. Why not push for full control? Because I'm not trying to win fast, I replied. I'm trying to win smart. For the first time, she smiled fully. You're learning. Something in my chest straightened. 3 weeks later, I slammed my notebook shut. Okay, that one was a disaster. Maya didn't flinch. Explain. The supplier deal collapsed. Owner backed out last second. And your mistake? I exhaled. I pushed too hard. Yes. I frowned. You don't sugarcoat anything, do you? No. The market doesn't either. I leaned back, rubbing my temples. I hate starting over. You're not starting over, she said calmly. You're rebuilding correctly this time. I stared at the spreadsheet in front of me. Smaller numbers than I was used to. Smaller risks. Smaller wins. But they were wins. Still, frustration bubbled under my skin. Sometimes it feels like I'm crawling while Lucas is sprinting. Maya's voice turned sharp. Stop. I looked up. Comparison is emotional thinking, she said. Emotional thinking destroys investors. I leaned forward slightly. You don't understand what he took from me. Her gaze didn't soften. No, I understand exactly what you're letting him keep. That hit harder than I expected. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Daniel. I glanced at Maya. She gave a small nod. Take it. I answered quietly. What's up? Daniel's voice came low and careful. You got a minute? Yeah. You're not going to like this, he said. My stomach tightened. Just say it. Lucas pushed through the Midwest expansion. I sat up straighter. Already? That timeline made no sense. Tell that to your father, Daniel muttered. They're moving fast. Real fast. I rubbed my jaw. Too fast. Daniel didn't hesitate. Yeah, feels reckless. Across the table, Maya was watching me closely. I lowered my voice. Keep your eyes open, okay? Always do, Daniel said. And Ethan, yeah. Something about this doesn't smell right. The line went dead. I slowly set my phone down. Maya leaned back. Report. I gave her the short version. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she asked quietly, and what does that make you feel? I scoffed lightly. You want the honest answer? Always. I met her eyes. Part of me wants to watch it burn. Silence stretched between us. Then Maya said evenly, that's the emotional answer. And the strategic one? Her voice was calm, precise. Build something stronger. I looked down at my hands. For weeks, anger had been my fuel. Hot, immediate, satisfying. But Maya was offering something colder. Something lasting. You really think I can outgrow this? I asked quietly. I think, she said, you haven't even started yet. 2 months later, I stared at the email on my screen. Then I read it again and again. Maya crossed her arms. Well, I looked up slowly. We closed it. One brow lifted. Confirmed funds? Cleared this morning. For the first time since she met me, Maya actually looked impressed. Profit? She asked. I swallowed once. 6 figures. Silence. Then she nodded slowly. Not bad, Ethan. Not bad. I leaned back in my chair. Something unfamiliar spreading through my chest. Relief. Pride. Control. It wasn't a billion-dollar empire. It wasn't the family company. But it was mine. I looked at Maya. Small in the grand scheme. Huh? She shook her head once. No. I frowned. No. Her voice softened just slightly. This, she said, tapping the screen, is the first step back. I stared at the numbers one more time. Then I let out a slow breath. Because for the first time since the night I walked out into the rain, I wasn't thinking about what I lost. I was thinking about what I was about to build. And quietly, firmly, I made myself a promise. Next time, I wouldn't be the one getting replaced. You've been quiet all morning, Maya said, tapping her pen against my desk. That usually means you're thinking something dangerous. I didn't look up from the numbers on my screen. Define dangerous. She leaned back slightly. Emotionally motivated decisions. I exhaled slowly. Daniel called again. Her eyes sharpened. About the company? Yeah. I rubbed my jaw. Lucas pushed another expansion. West Coast logistics this time. Maya's pen stopped tapping. Funded how? That's the problem, I said quietly. The math doesn't add up. Silence stretched between us. Then she asked, calm but direct, "And why do you care?" I finally looked at her. Because it's still my family's company. Her expression didn't soften. Is it? The question landed heavier than I expected. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed again. Daniel. I put him on speaker. "You're not going to like this," he said immediately. "That's becoming your catchphrase," I muttered. "What happened?" Daniel lowered his voice. "Lucas approved 3 new vendor contracts this week." Maya leaned forward slightly. I frowned. "That's aggressive, but not illegal." "Not the aggressive part that worries me," Daniel said. "It's the payment structure." My pulse ticked up. "Explain." "They're heavily front-loaded," he said. "Huge cash commitments up front. Way bigger than our normal risk tolerance." I exchanged a glance with Maya. She mouthed too fast. I nodded slightly. "Dad signed off on this." I asked. "Your father's trusting Lucas's projections," Daniel replied. "But Ethan, if the revenue curve doesn't hit exactly right, the company gets squeezed," I finished quietly. "Hard." The line went silent for a moment. Then Daniel added, softer, "You might want to keep watching this." "I will," I said. When the call ended, the room felt heavier. Maya folded her arms. "Well," I leaned back slowly. "He's overextending them." "Deliberately?" "I don't know yet." She studied my face carefully. "You're thinking about warning them." I didn't answer right away. "Because, yeah, part of me was. They're still my parents," I said finally. Maya's voice stayed level. "They made their decision about you very clearly. That doesn't mean I want to watch them crash. It might mean you need to let consequences teach what loyalty couldn't." I frowned. "You really think staying silent is the right move?" "I think," she said carefully, "you need to decide whether you're acting from strategy or from old wounds." That hit uncomfortably close. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Almost. "Hello." There was a small pause. Then a familiar voice said quietly, "Ethan." My chest tightened. "Sophie." "Yeah, it's me." I sat up straighter. Maya immediately noticed. "What's wrong?" I asked. Sophie hesitated. "Nothing's wrong. I just wanted to talk." That alone felt strange. "You haven't called me in months," I said carefully. "I know." Silence. Then she spoke softer. "Things at home are tense." My grip tightened on the phone. "Because of Lucas?" Another pause. "You didn't hear this from me," she said quickly, "but Mom and Dad have been arguing a lot about the expansion." Maya's eyes narrowed across the desk. I kept my voice steady. "That doesn't surprise me." Sophie lowered her voice. "I don't think Lucas is telling them everything." My pulse spiked. "What makes you say that?" "I just overheard some things," she said. "Late night calls. Closed-door meetings. Dad looks stressed all the time now." Maya mouthed, "Pay attention." I nodded slightly. "Sophie," I said gently, "why are you telling me this?" Her voice cracked just a little. "Because I think something's wrong, and you're the only one who ever questioned him." That admission sat heavy in my chest. "I'll look into it," I said quietly. "Okay," she whispered. "And Ethan?" "Yeah." "I'm sorry." The line went dead. I stared at my phone for a long moment. Maya leaned forward. "Well," I turned my laptop back toward me, fingers already moving. "Daniel sent me partial vendor data last week," I said. Her eyes sharpened. "You're digging?" "Yeah." The screen filled with contract numbers, payment schedules, debt layering. Then I saw it. My stomach dropped. "Maya." Her voice went low. "What did you find?" I swallowed slowly, eyes locked on the figures. Lucas isn't just expanding. I zoomed in on the hidden financing structure. Cold realization settled into my bones. He's burying the company in leverage. Silence filled the room. Because for the first time, I wasn't looking at ambition. I was looking at something much more dangerous. I didn't make a scene. Not yet. Maya leaned across the table, flipping her pen between fingers. "Ethan, are you sure you want to move forward with this?" I smiled faintly. "Absolutely. It's time they remember my name." She raised an eyebrow. Quietly, strategically, not out of anger. I nodded. "This isn't about revenge. It's about leverage. Control." Daniel's voice came over the phone. "Numbers are in. Debt holdings are clean. Lucas has no idea we're watching. Perfect, I said. Let's structure the offer. Maya pulled out her laptop. I've drafted the acquisition plan. If we purchase the leveraged debt and present it at the right time, they won't see it coming. I lean back. Exactly. Timing is everything. Daniel's voice was low, cautious. Heads up. Lucas just approved another round of risky contracts. If we move now, it's perfect leverage. I felt a pulse of satisfaction. Good. Let's make the move. Maya looked at me directly. Are you ready for the blowback? The board, your father. I shrugged. I didn't come back to be ignored. Daniel added quietly. I've already set up discreet meetings with some board members. They're curious about the mysterious investor entering the market. Mysterious investor, I muttered. A smirk tugged at my lips. I like the sound of that. Maya shook her head, a faint smile. Just remember, stay professional. Don't let your history with him cloud your judgment. I leaned forward. Professional and lethal. Got it. A week later, I sat in a quiet corner office, phone muted, waiting for Daniel's update. They've noticed unusual movements, Daniel said as soon as I picked up. Lucas is nervous. The board is whispering. Your father, he's asking questions. I closed my eyes briefly. About me? Indirectly. About the investor acquiring debt. They're intrigued but cautious. I opened my eyes, staring at the skyline outside. Good. Let them be cautious. Let them sweat. Maya's voice came from my side. Remember, Ethan, the goal isn't to destroy Lucas. It's to regain control of what you should have had all along. I nodded. I know. Later that day, my phone rang again. The number was familiar, but I didn't recognize the caller. Hello. I said cautiously. Ethan, this is your father. Robert Cole's voice came, tight and careful. I've been hearing about a new investor. Can we meet? Discreetly. As soon as possible. I smiled faintly, leaning back in my chair. Of course, Dad. Let's schedule it. Maya's eyebrows rose. Careful. Don't give anything away. I nodded. I'm not here to be recognized. Not yet. Daniel's voice came in quietly. Your father is genuinely curious. He doesn't know it's you. That thought sent a thrill through me. He thinks he's meeting a stranger, I said, low and controlled. Perfect. Maya leaned closer. Ethan, this is the first time you've had real leverage. Use it wisely. I looked at her, calm but focused. I will. Patience. Precision. Control. Daniel added. Lucas is getting anxious. Small mistakes will expose him. Timing is everything. I exhaled slowly. Then we wait for the perfect moment. Maya tapped her pen once. Make sure your offer is irresistible. I leaned back, steepling my fingers. Irresistible and untouchable. Daniel's voice dropped. They don't even know you exist yet. They won't see this coming. A cold satisfaction settled into my chest. Exactly, I said quietly. And when they finally realize who's behind it, they'll know exactly who's been controlling the board from the shadows. Maya's gaze softened slightly. Just don't let the past drive your hand. Stay smart. I nodded. Smart always. The past only taught me one thing. I'm not replaceable. Daniel chuckled quietly. Better them scared than prepared. I smiled, feeling the first taste of real power in months. Prepare everything, I said. This offer will change the game. Maya nodded. Done. You're ready, Ethan. I stood, looking out the window, voice quiet but steady. And when Dad walks into that meeting, he won't see a stranger, but he won't realize it's me. Yet. Because finally, the power shift had begun. The boardroom was silent when I stepped inside. Mr. Cole, a junior executive asked nervously. I smiled faintly. Actually, it's Ethan. A slow murmur ran through the room. Lucas froze mid-sentence, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. Ethan? How? I didn't answer immediately. I let the tension build. Every eye in the room was on me now. My father's face was a storm cloud. Explain yourself. Dad's voice cracked, anger and disbelief warring. I raised a hand calmly. I've been here all along, just quietly. Quietly? Where were you? Lucas's voice shook, barely holding on to composure. Building, I said simply. Something you clearly underestimated. Mom's face paled. Linda looked guilty, finally seeing me not as a child or a failure, but as someone she had ignored. Sophie shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Ethan, save it. Sophie. I interrupted softly but firmly. You're on my side or not, but your words won't change the facts. Dad slammed his hand on the table. You've been manipulating this behind our backs. I've been strategic, I corrected, and unlike some, I didn't risk the company recklessly. Lucas took a step forward. Ethan, you don't understand the expansion. Oh, I understand it perfectly. I cut in. Your Midwest and West Coast pushes? Reckless. Over-leveraged. If we don't act, the company collapses. Lucas swallowed. I thought I was doing the right thing. You thought you could replace me, I said quietly, letting the weight of my words sink in. And maybe you believed everyone would follow blindly. But numbers don't lie, Lucas. He shifted uncomfortably. I can fix it. I can. Stop, I said firm. It's too late for panic fixes. My father's voice was tight. What do you want, Ethan? I leaned on the table, eyes scanning the room. Control, not revenge. I'm not here to humiliate anyone. Well, not more than the truth does that already, but to ensure the company survives. Mom's lips pressed together. Guilt flashed across her face, her silence saying more than words ever could. Sophie's eyes widened. You mean you'll take over operations? I'll oversee, I said, precise. Every decision, every expansion, until we're stabilized. Lucas can stay involved, but only under my supervision. Lucas's jaw tightened. You can't just. I can, I said, because unlike before, I have the resources, the insight, and the patience to execute properly. And unlike you, I've proven it outside this room. He ran a hand through his hair, sweat forming at his temple. This isn't fair. Life isn't fair, I said calmly. Neither is leadership. But fairness doesn't matter when survival does. Dad slammed the table again. After everything, you expect us to just. I expect you to accept reality, I said. The company isn't a playground for mistakes or favoritism anymore. Lucas backed toward the door, glancing at Daniel, who had been discreetly observing in the corner. Panic flickered in his eyes. Mom's voice broke softly. Ethan, I'm sorry. I should have listened. I nodded slightly. Acknowledgement is a start, Mom, but action is better. Sophie stayed silent, conflicted, eyes darting between Lucas and me. I looked at my father, steady. You can argue, you can resist, but the terms are clear. I control operations. I protect the company. Lucas works under my supervision, or we restructure entirely. Lucas's breathing was rapid now. I can fix this. You've had your chance, I said, voice calm but final. Now watch and learn, or step aside. He froze, then darted out of the room, probably to salvage something. Anything. I stood tall, taking in the stunned faces around me. For the first time in years, I wasn't pleading, begging, or apologizing. I was in control, and the boardroom knew it. The phone rang before the boardroom even opened. Ethan, Daniel's voice came tense. Regulators just flagged the West Coast expansion. They're questioning compliance on multiple contracts. I leaned back, letting the words sink in. All of them, he said quietly. And Lucas's vendor payments are missing documentation. I exhaled slowly. So it's unraveling. Exactly. Brace yourself, Daniel warned. I nodded. I'm already bracing. Lucas stormed into my temporary office 15 minutes later. You set me up, he spat. I looked up calmly. I didn't set you up. You set yourself up. He slammed a folder onto my desk. This proves nothing. I'm running the company. You were running it into the ground, I said evenly. Numbers, contracts, leverage, all of it. He ran a hand through his hair. I did it to prove myself. Everyone said I couldn't. Everyone but your own ego. I interrupted. His shoulders slumped. You don't understand. I wanted them to like me, to be respected. I wanted to be the heir. I paused. You mean you wanted what I already had, and what they took from me? He flinched. It wasn't like that. I studied him quietly. For the first time, Lucas wasn't defiant. Just scared. Human. Insecure. Jealous. You were a kid playing a man's game, I said softly. And you lost. He hung his head. I know. I never should have. I held up a hand. I'm not here to punish you. I'm here to fix what you broke. Lucas's voice trembled. And my life? My reputation? I leaned back, meeting his eyes. Reputation doesn't matter. Survival does. Learn from this. That's all you get. Dad's voice came from the hall. Ethan, may I speak with you? I followed him quietly into his office. His face was tight, remorse etched in every line. I underestimated you, he said softly. I thought I was making the right choice. I see now how wrong I was. I nodded. Better late than never. He ran a hand over his face. Can you forgive me? I looked at him carefully. I've moved past that, Dad. This is about the company now. Maya appeared at my side as we walked back to the boardroom. Ethan, she said quietly, don't let this moment make you the man you were before. Decide who you want to be now. I exhaled, letting her words settle. I'm thinking carefully, I said softly. The boardroom filled quickly. Lucas sat quietly, avoiding my gaze. Whispers ran through the room. Regulators, financial exposure, leverage gone wrong. Daniel handed me a stack of reports. All the evidence you need, he said. I glanced at Lucas. It's not personal, I said quietly. It's karma collecting its debt. He looked up briefly, vulnerability in his eyes. Maybe I deserved some of this. Maybe, I admitted. But now it's up to you to learn, or disappear. Dad shifted uneasily in his chair. Ethan, you'll guide this process? I nodded. I will. The company survives under clear rules. No favoritism. No reckless moves. Lucas's hands were clenched. Sophie sat silently, conflicted, watching him crumble without relief or triumph. The tension was thick, but I felt steady. Maya's words echoed in my mind. Decide who you want to be. I looked around the boardroom, at the people who had underestimated me, at the man who had tried to replace me, and at my family still learning lessons the hard way. The board will vote on final ownership next week, I said. Until then, everyone stays focused. The company comes first. Lucas nodded slightly, humbled. Understood. I exhaled slowly, feeling the weight of months of strategy, patience, and restraint. Control was near, but the real test, who I would become, was just beginning. The boardroom was tense, silent except for the shuffle of papers. I stood at the head of the table, calm. Everyone, thank you for coming. Today is about the company, nothing else. Lucas shifted nervously in his seat. I ignored him. Dad cleared his throat. Ethan, save it, Dad, I said firmly. Let's focus on facts. Maya leaned over slightly, whispering, stay composed. I've reviewed all financials, I began, including the risky expansions Lucas pursued. Lucas bristled. It wasn't risky and reckless. I corrected evenly. If we continue on that path, the company fails. I'm offering a solution that protects all of us. Mom stayed quiet, her gaze flicking between us. Sophie fidgeted in her chair. I propose a restructuring, I continued. I will take controlling interest, not for revenge, not for power, but to stabilize the company. Lucas can remain on the board under supervision, and the family retains equity. Murmurs ran through the room. Lucas's face paled. Controlling interest? You can't. I can, I said calmly. I've secured the necessary agreements and funds. The board will vote on approval. Dad's voice was strained. Ethan, publicly? Everyone will know. Yes, public acknowledgement is necessary, I said. It's about accountability. Leadership requires transparency. Sophie finally spoke, voice trembling. Ethan, I should have listened to you before. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I nodded, voice soft. Thank you, Sophie. That means more than you know. Lucas clenched his fists. I tried. You tried to prove yourself by taking my place, I said quietly. And you failed. But I'm not here to humiliate you. Learn from this. The board remained silent, watching. I could feel the weight of every pair of eyes. I've prepared a detailed plan, I said, distributing copies. Step-by-step restructuring, oversight, and risk mitigation. If approved, we stabilize immediately. Maya whispered from my side, perfect. Keep control calm, not cruel. I will, I replied. I waited as the board read the documents. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, one of the senior members cleared his throat. I see no alternative. The plan is solid, and Ethan's leadership is clear. We vote yes. Yes, echoed the others. Lucas sank into his chair, defeated. So it's official. Yes, I said firmly. It is. Dad's face softened, reluctantly proud. Ethan, you've earned this. I should have recognized it sooner. I nodded slowly. Better late than never, Dad. Let's move forward. Sophie smiled faintly. I'm proud of you. I gave a small, controlled smile. I didn't do this for pride. I did it for the company, and for myself. Lucas avoided my eyes. Understand? Good, I said quietly. Learn, grow, and don't repeat your mistakes. Murmurs of approval circled the room. The board had voted, the restructuring was official, and I finally held what had once been denied to me. I exhaled slowly, letting the calm weight of accomplishment settle. Victory wasn't loud. It wasn't revenge. It was quiet dominance, earned, precise, and deserved. This is the beginning of the company's real future, I said softly, looking at everyone around the table. And in that moment, I felt it fully, my name, my place, my power, reclaimed at last. I sat in my office, watching the city lights flicker through the window. Maya leaned against the desk beside me. You look peaceful, she said softly. I smiled faintly. I feel like I finally belong in my own story. She tilted her head. Not everyone gets that chance. No, I admitted. But I earned it. Not by fighting them. Not by proving them wrong, but by proving myself right. A soft knock interrupted us. Mom stepped in cautiously. Ethan, I held up a hand. It's okay, Mom. I'm listening. Tears shimmered in her eyes. I was wrong. I ignored you. I'll let Lucas take the place that should have been yours. I'm so sorry. I exhaled slowly. Apology accepted. But understand this. Sorry doesn't undo the past. I can only move forward. And so can you, if you want a place in my life. She nodded, relief mixed with guilt. I do. I want that. Dad appeared next, looking heavier somehow, weighed down by regret. Ethan, I misjudged everything. I pushed you aside. I can't take that back. You can acknowledge it, I said, and try to do better. That's all anyone can ask. He lowered his gaze. I will. I promise. Sophie peeked in, offering a small, hesitant smile. You've changed everything. Thank you, Ethan. I nodded. I didn't do it for thanks. I did it because I refused to be invisible. Maya's hand found mine. And you never will be again, she said firmly. I met her eyes. Partner, equal, unwavering. Everything I needed and more. I leaned back, thinking quietly. Wealth, control. Yes, they were part of the journey. But the real victory wasn't numbers on a ledger. It was becoming a man who could never be replaced. No betrayal, no doubt, no family or foe could take that from me. I exhaled, letting the tension leave my shoulders. Calm, collected, complete. Ready for the future? Maya asked. I smiled, voice steady. Always. And in that moment, I understood something deeper than triumph. Respect isn't demanded. It's earned, quietly, relentlessly. And I had earned it, not from them, but from myself. For the first time in my life, I felt whole. The past was behind me. The company was secure. The family, learning. And I was exactly the man I chose to become. Strong, unshakable, and finally irreplaceable.